ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today we shall be continuing from the first canto, chapter 3, text number 35 onwards, 35 to 38. Evam janmani karmani yakartul ajanasya cha varnyanti sma kavayo veda guhyani hritpate. Thus, learned men describe the births and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literature. He is the Lord of the heart. So here, the one or the two particular attributes of the Supreme Lord are being described. One, he is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literature. And he is the Lord of the heart. So both living entities and the Supreme Lord are by nature spiritual and eternal, as Upanishads explain. Nityo Nityana Chetanas Chetanana. The Lord and the living entity both are Nitya, that is eternal, and Chetan, that is spiritual, full of consciousness. And as Krishna also explains in Bhagavad Gita, he is Aja, Ajo Peace and Avyatma. So he is Aja, and living entity is also declared as Aja. And although both are similar in nature, that in the sense they are unborn, they are not subjected to birth and death, and both are spiritual and eternal, but there is one difference between the two. Eko Bahuna Yo Vidadhati Kama. The one supreme is actually the maintainer of all other living entities. The birth and death or the disappearance of the Lord, they are very much different from the living entities. Different in the sense, living entity takes birth by karma. Karmana Daiva Netrena. Living entity, because of his karma, is subjected to the jurisdiction of the different demigods. They force him, like Yamaraj forces him to take birth in a particular way. So, karmana daiva netrena jantur deha upapadyate. A jantu or a living entity accepts a body under the supervision of daiva, the administrative system created by the Lord is called daiva. So different demigods too, they can be together said as daiva. So under the supervision or direction of the daiva, living entity accepts the body. But that's not the case with the Lord. He is not forced to accept a body like ordinary living entities. And living entity is bound by the law of material nature. But the Lord, even though when he comes to this material world, he is not bound by the law of nature. So whatever actions he does, they are nothing but the manifestation of his internal potency. We can take an example. For example, if a king, for example, decides to visit the prison or the correctional facility. So he may enter in the prison, he may be seen by the prisoners to be in the prison house, entering in the prison house, just like living entity takes birth in this world. So similarly, the ordinary living entities may see the Supreme Lord also taking birth in this world. That's like entering into the prison house. And since the prison house is very strongly built, everybody is very much bound. Foolish people may think, oh, this king also is bound by the laws of this prison. But we see the prison keepers, they will walk behind the king. They will simply be eager to receive the orders of the king. And the king can be in the prison house as long as he wants, and he can walk out whenever he wants. No prison keeper can hold him. In fact, it is by the order of the king that the prison keeper is managing or maintaining the affairs of the prison. So similarly, when the Supreme Lord comes to this world, all the demigods, they are simply eagerly awaiting to receive the instructions from the Lord. And they are eager to obey the orders of the Lord. And the Lord can go out from this world, from this material existence, whenever he likes. He is not bound like all of us. So whatever activities he performs in this world, they are not like the ordinary karma. Like a prisoner in the jail is forced to work in a particular way. He has been given certain duties to execute. If he doesn't do, then he's further punishable. But that is not the case with the king. Even though the king may be in the prison, he has no duties to be performed. No one can tell him what to do and what not to do. In fact, it is explained here, simply by meditating on the activities of the Lord, one can actually become freed from the material bondage. So if somebody, even if a prisoner in the jail, who is condemned to be there in the jail for a long time, if he somehow that comes and assists the king in doing any simple thing the king wants to do, he becomes the object of receiving the mercy of the king. And the king may order, oh, release this person immediately. So, similarly, when the Supreme Lord comes to this world, whatever activities or actions he performs, they are called Leela. They're the pastimes of the Lord. And anyone simply hearing those pastimes can actually become freed from the cycle of birth and death. If somebody hears, meditates, recollects or remembers those pastimes, becomes freed from the cycle of birth and death. So this is the difference between the ordinary living entity and the Supreme Lord. The appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Lord and his activities are all confidential. Even in the Vedic literature, these activities, where it may be described, it's very difficult to simply understand or comprehend by reading from the Vedic literature, because they are also even hidden in the Vedic text. Take a simple example. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, he says, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam. Krishna saying, this knowledge, this Vidya, the knowledge that I'm giving, is king of all the knowledge and it is king of all the secret. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. It is king of all the secrets. So, Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita, which are related to his birth and activities, are the confidential subject matter. Even if somebody reads it, will not be able to understand because it is hidden in the Vedic literature. So when ordinary people, they read Mahabharata or they read different Puranas and they read the Krishna's pastimes, they think Krishna is also one of the living entities, or maybe more powerful living entity, or maybe one of the demigods. But calling the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, the most powerful living entity, or calling him the demigod or most powerful demigod, is not the glory of the Lord. It is actually underestimating the glories of the Lord. It's just like, when the king is walking in the prison house, somebody says, "You are the best of the prisoners." That doesn't add to the glory of the king. Or even somebody says, "You are the best of the superintendent of the jail." Even that is insult to the king. He is not the superintendent of the jail. He is the king. So similarly, designating the Supreme Lord in any material way is not glorification, but the insult to the Supreme Lord. It's blasphemy to the Supreme Lord. So a person who can understand this truth can actually be liberated from the cycle of birth. We should always take advantage of the wonderful narrations about the birth and activities of the Lord, which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, which are the object of meditation on, which is actually objects of meditation even by the greatest of demigods. Text 36. Sava idam vishvam amoga leela srijati avati ati nasatyatesmin bhuteshu cha chantarhit atmatantra shadvargikam chikrati shadgunesha. The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them, and annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent. So the further attributes of the Lord are being described here. So Supreme Lord is the creator and the living entities are created. So how we understand the Supreme Lord as creator? We understand everything in this world is created by Brahma. Brahma is Srijankarta. But Brahma is empowered to create. He is not the independent creator. How do we know that he's not an independent creator? Brahma himself confirms this in the second canto of Bhagavatam that we'll be reading in the second canto. Brahma says, I have created only after the primary creation is done by the Lord. So he confirms that he's not the creator, but he's the engineer of the universe. Like an engineer may take the ingredients, put them together to construct a building. Engineer is not the one who creates the ingredients for the building. Engineer simply takes the ingredients, puts them together to construct a building. So Brahma himself confirms that he's only the engineer. And also another way we can understand is Brahma creates the 14 planetary system. At least within this universe, Brahma has 14 planetary systems. And although at the night of Brahma, every night of the Brahma, the lower 10 planetary systems are destroyed. That means only 4 are left. At the next day of Brahma's beginning, he again creates only 10 more planetary systems. That means there are always 14 planetary systems during the day of Brahma. If Brahma was an independent creator, he would have thought, okay, yesterday I had 14 planetary systems. Today let me create 15 or maybe 20. Or maybe I don't want to do more. I'll create only 10. No. Every single day of Brahma's creation, there are 14 planetary systems. That means Brahma is bound by the instructions of the Supreme Lord. He does creation under the instructions of the Lord. Therefore, in every day of Brahma, there are 14 planetary systems. So, the Lord is actually the creator. Brahma is only creating, being empowered by the Lord, because every living entity needs some engagement. So Brahma also needs some engagement in the service of the Lord. So the Lord empowers him to do the service of creation. And the Supreme Lord is also called Amoga Leela. Amoga Leela indicates that there is nothing lamentable in his creation. Moga means futile or useless. And Amoga means which is not futile, which is never frustrated. So Prabhupada says, not lamentable. So nothing within the creation of the Lord is actually lamentable. Because this creation is nothing but one of the pastimes of the Lord. It's Leela of the Lord. People generally think, oh, when Krishna is killing some demons, or Krishna is performing Rasa Leela, Krishna is stealing butter, that is Leela. No, that's also Leela. But even creation, this material existence is created by the Lord, is also one of his pastimes. Why pastime? Because that is meant for his pleasure. The Lord creates this material creation exclusively for his own happiness. Just like a rich man, whatever he does for his pleasure. Even if he opens a charitable institution, a hospital or a school or orphanage home, he does it for his own happiness because he feels happy by that. That's why he does. So similarly, the Lord creates entire material creation also simply for his own happiness. And being part and parcel of Krishna, we have nothing to lament when we understand that we have intimate relationship with Krishna and our happiness is dependent on happiness of Krishna. So when a living entity understands his relationship with Krishna, in any situation of life, the living entity has nothing to lament. And Krishna also doesn't have anything to lament. Sometimes we see in this creation, the demons are victorious, sometimes the demigods are victorious. So sometimes, though demigods are actually the servants of the Lord, but they are defeated sometimes at the hands of demons. But that doesn't create any lamentable situation for the Lord. Why? Because every living entity is a child of the Lord. So sometimes in the home also we see the nefarious child becomes victorious over the sober children. Father doesn't take it seriously. Or sometimes the sober children are victorious over the nefarious child. The father doesn't take it seriously. He knows they're just playing. Their children, they fight sometimes they'll be all right. He doesn't take them seriously. But when some child, a nefarious child becomes, extremely powerful and is bullying the others, then the father may intervene and punish him and bring him to his senses. But in general, the father doesn't really lament when the children are doing some small quarrels or fights. Doesn't really make the father lament. And those who create disturbance in this creation, they are themselves disturbed. So demons generally are people who are averse to Krishna's instruction. They are the ones who try to create disturbance in this creation. Though the Lord has created everything perfect, but those who want to create disturbance, they themselves become disturbed. So Supreme Lord, he is transcendental to all material afflictions. Because he is full in six opulence, he is Bhagavan. Therefore, he has nothing to depend on anyone. And he's also the master of all the senses. He's full in six opulences and he's master of the senses. So therefore, he has nothing to actually lament or depend on anyone. In this world, if a person is very wealthy, but if he doesn't have his senses under control, the person becomes disturbed. For example, if a wealthy person, a very rich person, he likes some woman, and the woman is not, interested in him, and the person doesn't have control over his senses, he becomes disturbed. There was one very rich boy, from Europe, from Indian family, NRI family. He actually committed suicide because he was interested in some girl and she did not respond to him. She was not interested in him. So he committed suicide. So that is not the case with the Supreme Lord. He is full in six opulences and he has perfect control over his senses. He is the master of the senses. Not only the master of his own senses, he is the master of the senses of all living entities as well. Everyone. And he creates this creation, material universes, in order to give a chance to living entities to correct their mentality and prepare themselves to go back home, back to God. So it's like a reclaiming facility. The Lord has created this creation to reclaim the living entities who are not interested in Him, who have become averse to Him, who have become hateful to Him. He creates the facility simply to keep them aloof from the spiritual world and try to correct their mentality. And it says the Supreme Lord is actually aloof from this material existence, but he is superficially connected with the material creation. Just like the odor or the smell, without being connected with the odorous article. If, for example, I'm walking into a beautiful garden of roses, fragrant roses. So I may not go close to the rose, but the rose is situated distant from me, but I can still feel the fragrance of the rose. So although I have no connection, physical connection with the rose, but I can still smell the fragrance of the rose. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is completely aloof from the material existence. He doesn't have anything to do with physically with this material creation. But yet, everything is perfectly under his control. And finally, the no godly element therefore can never approach him. That means anything material cannot touch the Lord. Because Lord is the spiritual Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Anything that is not Satchit Ananda cannot approach or touch the Lord. Text 37. न चास्य कश्चिन् पुणे न धातुर अवैति जन्तु कमनीश ऊतेन नामानि रूपानि मनोवचोभिः सन्तन्वतो नटचरयाम् इवाज्ञाम्. The foolish with a poor fund of knowledge cannot know the transcendental nature of the form, names, and activities of the Lord, who is playing like an actor in drama. Nor can they express such things, neither in their speculation nor in their words. So here, people who are not qualified to understand or to know the Lord are being described. So no one can properly describe the transcendental nature of the absolute truth. He is beyond the expression of mind and speech. So this means that even though a person may try to describe the transcendental attributes and nature of the Lord, it will not be possible for him to fully describe the attributes or the transcendental qualities of the Lord. For ordinary person, his activities, his appearance in this world, his disappearance from this world, his name, forms, his activities, his paraphernalia, all may appear to be mysterious. But there are some personalities who can actually know the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. No one can really know him fully. But there are some personalities who may know him to some extent. Not fully though. And who are those personalities? Lord Shiva, for example. He knows the Supreme Lord to some extent. And better than Lord Shiva is Ananta Shesha or Lord Baladev, who knows the glories of the Supreme Lord to greater extent. Nobody can know greater than him. So expansion of Lord Baladev is Ananta Shesha. Ananta Shesha has thousands of mouths. And he is describing the glories of the Lord with his 1,000 mouths since time immemorial. When you say time immemorial means millions and billions and zillions of years he has been going on. And when we say he's going on means he does not repeat ever the glories of Lord. He describes the attribute and glories of Lord only once. And he has been doing it since time immemorial. He has not reached an end to the glories of the Lord. And he has not been able to describe fully the glories of the Lord. So we can imagine. We have only 64 qualities of the Lord known from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But Supreme Lord has unlimited attributes, which Anantesha is not able to describe since millions and millions of years. With his thousands of mouths, every mouth is describing a different glory of the Lord. And yet he doesn't find an end. He doesn't even reach anywhere closer to the end of the glories of the Lord. This is the meaning of unlimited. The Lord's glories are unlimited. That's the meaning of being beyond the expression of mind and speech. There are two classes of people in this world: the fruitive workers and philosophers, karmis and jnanis. And the karmis have no information about the God. They are simply interested in working hard for the sense enjoyment. And jnanis or mental speculators are little more progressive than the karmis. But because they are also within the grip of material energy or illusory energy, they take it for granted that the form, name, and activities of the Lord are also product of material energy. Like I may say, any name in this world, material name, like I may say, this shirt, or this bottle, or this phone. These are different names of the objects. So people who are empiric philosophers, they think that even the names of Lord, even the activities of the Lord, they are all material. There was one Muni, Ashtavakra Muni. His philosophy was Nama Rupa Jagat. He said, everything in this world is nothing but names, and all the names are material. Even the names of the Supreme Lord he categorized as material. It's all names. Every name in this creation that you can hear is all material and is all temporary. All forms that you see in this world, they're all temporary, material. That means even when Krishna appeared in this world, that's also temporary and material. So because of this misunderstanding, the empiric philosophers or the Gyanis are also far, far away from understanding the reality about the Supreme Lord. For them, the Supreme Spirit is formless, nameless, and inactive. That is their understanding of the Supreme. So with such poor fund of knowledge, there is no access to the real nature of the Supreme Lord. And therefore Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita, the mudhas or fools, they can never understand him. So karmis, jnanis, they are all in the category of mudhas or fools. They can never understand Krishna. Tattvata. Text 38. Saveta dhatu pravadim parasya duranta virasya rathanga pane yo maya santataya nuvrityam bhajeta tatpada saroja gandham. Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of chariot in his hand, can know the creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. So here, who can actually understand the Lord is being described. So it says, those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service to the Lord. Bhajita, the person who is interested in bhajan or doing service to the Supreme Lord can actually understand it. So only pure devotees who are interested in or who are engaged in the service of the Lord can know the transcendental nature of Krishna's name, form, and activities. So this is the qualification, as Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yas chashmi tatmata. Krishna says, only devotees know me as I am, tattvata. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yas chasmi tattvata. Krishna says, devotees know me as I am, in tattvata. Others know Krishna in a faulty way. But devotees know Krishna tattvata. They know him in truth. They don't know him fully, but they know him in truth. To whatever extent Krishna allows them to know. Because even Ananta Shesha or even Lord himself as Baladev doesn't know his own glories, the extent of his own glories. So for ordinary living it is definitely not possible. But by the mercy of Krishna, a living entity can know to the extent the Supreme Lord allows him to know. So devotees, they offer uninterrupted, loving service to the Lord. And by rendering that service, they actually become very dear to the Lord. But there are those who also do some indirect service to the Lord. Indirect service means they are put under the illusory energy of the Lord, Maya, Shakti, and they render service to him indirectly. It's like a prisoner in the jail. He's also serving the king, but he's forced to serve the king in a particular way. And the independent citizens, they are obedient to the king's order, and they serve the king. They serve the country in a favorable way. Therefore, they are free citizens. So favorable servitors are devotees, The free citizens are like devotees, and by the grace of Lord, they can enter into the mysterious region of transcendence, that is the spiritual world. So when a living entity becomes completely purified from all the contamination, he can leave this world and go back home, back to Godhead. So karmis and jnanis, they remain in the darkness, in the material existence. Whereas the Supreme Lord personally guides the pure devotees. He guides them in the material world when they are practicing Krishna consciousness, how to perfect their life. He guides them toward the path of realization. So this is the secret of entering into the kingdom of God. The karmis and jnanis, they have no qualifications, but a devotee is the only one who has qualification. Brahma Samhita also confirms this. Brahma Samhita says, Yastvindra gopam athavindra maho swakarma bandhanurupa phalabhajana matanamati karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja govindamadi purisham tamaham bhajami. Says, Yastvindra gopa. Indra gopa means a small, tiniest insect. Yastvindra gopa athavindra. Indra is the king of heavenly planets. So from Indra gopa to Indra, from tiniest insects or living entity in this world, up to Indra, who is the king of all the heavenly planets, king of all the demigods. Bandhanurupa, phalabhajanam. So they are bandha anurupa. They are bound by anarupa phala. Whatever fruitive activity they have performed, the result of that they are bound by. So, but karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. But a devotee is completely freed from all the karma. Also it says, Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktam. The Supreme Lord is very, very difficult for people who follow the empiric path of Vedas. Vedeshu durlabham. It's very difficult. Durlabha means very difficult to attain. Adurlabham atma bhakta. But it's very easy. Adurlabha means very easy to obtain by atma bhakta, those who are his devotees. So this is the sum and substance of these few verses that we read. We'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, please feel free.